I'm Lesley Canarium, Reader Conversations Librarian at the Rogers Public Library. And for this month's December's Take It, Make It, we're going to make little felted Yeti, abominable snowman decorations. And so let's get to it. There's a lot of hand sewing in this project, so number up your fingers. You should have gotten in your kit a pattern. I've already gone ahead and cut the pieces out. I do want to give a shout out to Aimee Ray, who designed this pattern and very, very generously gave me permission to reproduce it for this library program, so I didn't have to buy several dozen copies of it. You can visit her store on Etsy, little-deer.com. She's got lots of cute patterns. So thank you for that permission. Anyhow, you'll have a body pattern, which you will cut 2 out of from the white, a beard part, which you will cut 1 out of from the white, and a little tiny face, which you will cut 1 out of from the light blue. So you will have gotten a piece of white and a piece of light blue felt. So you're going to want this little heart shape up. When you do your project, I would recommend very strongly that you use a light colored fabric marker, or I just used a highlighter. I used a yellow highlighter because that's what I had on hand, and it gave kind of an interesting old yellow snow tone to the project, which I don't dislike. But if you happen to have a light blue highlighter, it might work a little bit better with the colors for this project. I'm using a pen, however, for this video because I don't think you could see it on the camera if I used a highlighter. Now that I've outlined my shape, I do not cut it out. I have discovered through making practice ones, it is a lot easier to do the embroidery if you've got something around the edges to hold on to. So we're going to embroider the face on it using, with it still on the piece. So we'll start with the black thread. These are all very basic embroidery stitches, but if you don't know them, I've included, I stole very helpful illustrations on how each kind of stitch is made. We're going to start with the eyes, which we're going to make out of French knots. Going to put them up, one each, in these little tops of the heart shape of the face. You want to get them kind of high up there so there's room for the mouth. So do not pull your embroidery thread too tight. You'll just go through the bottom, bring the strand up, and tie a knot. Kind of put your finger there to keep it in place until the loop is pretty small. Then put your thread back down, very close to where it came up, but not quite the same hole. You want to give it a little something to grab onto. So pull through like that. And just very gently tighten it with your finger on top until you've got an eyeball. Okay, I want to give this guy a little bit bigger eyes because big eyes are cute. So I'm just going to do another little French knot right next to it. One or two, either one works. Just pull that through. And then I could tie this off here if I were a good seamstress, but since nobody's going to see the other side of this, I'm just going to jump right over and do the other one. I have to say, have been doing embroidery for decades, And I never could do a good French knot until finally, working on this project, I made so many of them, I actually figured out how to do them. So, yay! Never too old to learn something new. Okay, I'm gonna pull the thread through that little knot right there, just to make sure it stays in place. And there we go. And don't worry, there is a pattern for where all these little designs are and where they're gonna go. That's included in your kit too, so you don't have to remember. Okay. 2 little black eyes. Now I'm just gonna go right, almost right between the eyes, just a little bit below them, and make a little tiny straight stitch. Doot, doot. And that's gonna be for his nose. Boy, I hope I have enough thread on this, because otherwise we're gonna have to stop everything while I rethread the needle, because I'm so bad at that. And then we're gonna go down and make a line for the mouth. You wanna just basically make first sort of a corner of the mouth going up and down like this. You can make it straight or make it smiley. It's up to you. Make it frowny, I suppose, if you want a grumpy monster. And what we're using for this straight line is we're going to doing a back stitch. So we're making the needle come out where we want the end, the far end of the stitch to be, and then pulling it back. And then going back, and then going forward. Back and forward. And that helps you control and make a straighter line with your stitch. So looks like I'm not, this one is going to be sort of a wobbly mouth. That's okay. He's not sure how he feels. And then you want to make sort of a corner of the mouth. And this one too. Back and forward. And done. Oh, look, I had just enough black thread. Yay! You're all getting more thread than I put on this needle, so you can afford to make a mistake. Well, if you don't like it, you can always pull it out and start over, but I think I'll just tie that off, and you all can see how messy the stitches look on the back, but that's okay. It doesn't matter. No one's going to see that. Just tie that. Snip that off. And now that's all we're going to do with the black on this one. Now we need the white thread. By the way, this is something I learned from Mom. Ordinary refrigerator magnet, flip it over, put your needles on it, and if you're clumsy like I am and you drop them, well, that will save you from having to find them again. We're just going to put a little tiny bit of the white on the face. Most of it's going to go on the body. And we're going to put a little highlights in the eyes to give them a little life. So just go right in the middle of that eye. And out it comes. And then a little stitch right at the edge. There we go. See how that gives it a little sparkle in life? Let's do the other one. There we go. So nice sparkly little eyes. And then we're going to come down and give him fangs. You know, the design pattern says that has the fangs going up, but I feel like just for something different, I'm going to make these fangs going down. Kind of little vampire snowman there. So pull that down. I'm just showing you that it's perfectly okay to mess with the pattern and change it up for your own taste. There are no craft police. We just want you to have fun doing this. Making a little pointy triangle there. And we'll do the same thing on the other side. And we're going to tie it off. And cut off all this extra thread that I don't know how that happened, but that's okay. Won't hurt anybody. Now we cut it out. And for this project, if you've got good, sharp sewing scissors, you know, the kind that you yell at the kids if they take to use to cut up paper or cardboard, that's when you want to get them, because felt can be annoying to cut without really good, sharp scissors. So I'm cutting around the line. You see why I didn't want to use the dark marker for the actual project, that I'm just using it for the video, because it kind of shows up there. That's good. Beard piece prepared here. So you're going to go ahead. You want it to be close, but not quite touching the edges there. And so now you're going to sew it on, and you're going to use another kind of stitch. For this, you want to use regular thread, regular sewing thread, not embroidery thread. You can use white or blue. I tried it both ways. I think I like it a little bit better with the white, but that's, depends what you really got in your sewing box. And we're going to use what's called a stab stitch. So you stab it from the back, pull it tight, not too tight, and then you want to get that needle as close as you can, stab it back down to the original stitch. Oh, that was, but not too close, because then you pull it through. Felt is tricky that way. Let's try that again. And I don't know if you can see this on the video, but it's going to make like a little dimple right there. Then you want to make your next stitch a little distance away, maybe 1/8 of an inch, maybe a millimeter. The important thing is to try and be consistent. Though I am not the most consistent seamstress. But you're just going to go around that sweet little face. And you can see it's making a little dotted pattern. This is a really good thing to do while you're listening to a podcast or watching a movie on the TV, because it really doesn't take a lot of focus, but okay. I'm not going to do this the whole way because I did prepare one in advance just so you don't have to spend a lot of this video watching me very slowly. So here you see we've got the one that I finished. This time the fangs are going up like it is in your pattern. You can decide if you like that better. And we're going to give him a little snowflake. So you should have some light blue thread, embroidery thread. Okay. And right about here on the beard, we're going to make a little six-sided snowflake. So pull it through. One. Not too tight. Go about a third of the way around. Pull it through again. Doesn't matter if all 6 legs aren't the same, exactly perfectly even. You do want to try and get them crossing in the middle. So, there we go. Whoa, I'm caught there. Little six snowflake, and let's put in a couple of French knots just in blue around that snowflake to give it a little snowstorm effect. The wonderful thing, if your embroidery, if nobody sees the backside, it can be as messy as you like, and you can fix a lot of problems that way. And we'll just cut that off. And this is, kind of a hairy beast. So we're going to use the white embroidery thread to just give a little suggestion of fur. And these are going to be, once again, just simple straight stitches. Try to get them to line up in parallel, but if they don't, they don't. This fur is a little messy. You don't have to follow the pattern that the design that's going to be included in your kit exactly. That gets you the basic idea. You can do more or less as you like. Now, you see how much simpler it is to do the embroidery before you cut the pieces out. I am embarrassed to admit how many times I had to make one of these before I figured that out. I found it's easier to cut the long edge of these pointy bits than cut across, because you get a nicer point that way. Of course, you also got lots of little pieces of felt to clean up. So, and this is our felt that's been with the body shape prepared on it. Once again, we're going to want to get close, but not quite touching there at the top. And we're going to take our regular sewing thread, tie a knot in it, and once again, we're going to do our stab stitch. And just peacefully sew this little guy in place. If you're wondering what you missed while we were cutting through there, what you mostly missed was me doing an incredibly sloppy job of tacking that beard piece onto the body piece. Because to be honest, I'm not going to be using these pieces in the final project anyway, because the ink that I use for tracing the pattern shows through too bad. So I just wanted to get the piece in place so you could see the next part, which is me not tying a knot. There we go. Uh, Taking the light blue thread, and we're going to make another little snowflake guy right here. Or I suppose if you feel like it, you could do it on the other leg. Shake things up a little. Your little snowman should be different from everybody else's, and it will. And let's go ahead and put another little French knot over here just for fun. For consistency's sake. Maybe one up over here on the other side. Because I'm having fun making French knots now that I know how to do them. All right. Well, those are... Well, maybe that's a little more sleet than ice. That's okay. It gets the idea. And we'll tie up the blue thread here, and that's about all we're going to do with the blue. And we'll grab our white thread here, and we'll just make some furry suggestions down here on the body. Doesn't have to be too much, just as much as you want. Some very simple straight stitches here. You can cross over these stitches onto the beard if you like. It all works. Now that we've got this going on, all our embroidery done, we're going to cut out this guy here, the body shape. Once again, being careful around those notches. Oh, I mentioned that you want really sharp scissors for this. If you have choice of your needles, you also want, for the sewing part, the sharpest, thinnest needle that you can get away with, that you can thread. Um, for me, you see how good I am at threading things. But yeah. So if your needle isn't quite as sharp as you like or as thin as you like, this is a trick my grandmother actually taught me, is if you keep a bar of soap, just plain bath soap, by you when you're sewing, and every now and then you stab the tip of the needle into it, It makes a nice, it kind of slicks up that needle and it goes into the fabric better. So listen to your grandmothers, everybody. Now we take that other body piece, and if you'll remember, we cut out 2 white pieces. This is the final stitch that goes with this project, and it's called a whip stitch because it kind of whips around. And you'll want to start by taking your 2 white pieces, or your 1 white piece and your fake white piece, which I've got here. It's kind of a gray actually. And you put them together. And then you'll take your thread, your regular sewing thread, and you want the, just put it through the front piece because you want the knot to be inside. You want to start right about above that eyeball right there because you're going to leave an open space right here for stuffing. And you just take that around and whip it around. Just like this. You know, now I'm almost wishing I had used the blue thread because I think it would be easier for you all to see what I was doing. But there is also an illustration of this stitch in your kit, so don't worry about that. Now, you'll notice as you're making this whip stitch with the felt, it kind of cuts into the edge of the felt. So you want to try and keep this as even, your stitches as even as possible or as regular as possible. Because what that will make is this sort of rustic pie crust edge, like, you know, when you make a pie crust and you press the edge with the tines of the fork is sort of how it looks. And you're just going to keep doing this all the way around the shape of the figure, and you're going to end up right about here above the other eye. Here we got the prepared, this little prepared guy. You can see the little bit of yellow highlighter that I used instead of that. Looks much nicer than the black ink. Once again, if I had it to do all over, I'd probably use a blue highlighter if I could find one, but that's okay. Like I said, this is an older Yeti. He's seen some things. So you're just going to stick your finger in there. You've got a little bit of stuffing, and you just want to lightly stuff it. Not too full. We don't want him to be, you know, a spherical Yeti. He's just going to be nicely, pleasingly plump. You could take a pencil, or don't use the inky part of the pen. Use the cap of the pen. Don't be dumb like me. Yes, I did ruin a project getting ink all over it because I wasn't thinking. Really, if there's any way you can do any of these crafts I'm showing you wrong, I've probably found it. So I'd be kind of excited if any of you comes up with some new and clever way to do them wrong, and let us know about it because I'm always interested in that. Okay, just kind of, probably won't you even use all the filling that I got you, but that's okay. You can use that for another project. And so we've got this little plump little guy. And you should have a little piece of snowflake ribbon. Just take your ordinary sewing thread. We're going to do that whip stitch again. So start on the inside. So you can see the kind of pie crust effect edge you get when you go all the way around. And I'm just going to do a couple of stitches here, pulling it through, trying to do a tidier job than I did on that first one. And we want to get about to the middle. And then you're going to take your ribbon, fold it in half so you've got a nice loop. Stick it in there. And you're just going to sew that in place. You might have to push it a little bit. This is stiff. That's, got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 layers I'm going through there, so takes a bit of a push. And let's pull that through the loop in the middle so it doesn't get all tangled. And we want to make sure we get a couple of stitches in each end of the ribbon because, I mean, it's not heavy, but you don't want it falling off either. And I'll warn you, I thought the snowflake ribbon was so cute when I saw it in the store, but I hadn't realized how much the thread was going to want to get caught on each of those little petals. So you're going to have to keep adjusting that. Sorry about that. We suffer for cuteness. And one more final knot to finish. Pull it through and snip it off. And there we go. We have a cute little felt Yeti or abominable snowman. You can hang him on a tree or on a lamp knob, or use them as a zipper pull, or I don't know, a cat toy. And the great thing about this pattern is that if you've got other little, you saw how it didn't use much felt at all. So if you've got other little scrap felt around, you can use it for other patterns. The person who designed it recommended that you use it with different shades of brown and green. And instead of the snowflakes, you could embroider little leaves and make a Sasquatch. And then a friend of mine who saw the pattern said, oh, we could make this in red and green and put a little gold star on it and make a little Christmas ogre. Or if you like, if you can make a red, white, and blue one to be patriotic, or if you've got another nationality or ethnic group you want to celebrate, like, yellow and blue for Ukraine, I would love to see what designs you come up with. So make sure you take pictures of them and tag us online. And that's all there is.